We have a quorum present. For tonight's invocation will be led by Cindy Hoy, Director of Pastoral Care at Sioux Valley Hospital here in Sioux Falls. After the invocation, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, so please rise.
I invite you to pray with me. Faithful and ever-present God, thank you for those gathered here this evening, for those at work on behalf of our community, for those entrusted with responsibility in the life of this community. Bless the administrative work that will take place here tonight. Remind all of us, as we consider our leadership and our influence on others, that our power does not lie in our resumes or our connections. Remind us that our power does not lie in what we've done or even in what we're doing at this very moment. Remind us, O God, that our power lies in our clarity about why we're on the earth, to contribute to the healing of your world. Guide us always toward healing and wholeness. In all that we say and do, may we be a people shaped in both values and words by you, our life-giving Creator. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's start the meeting. And is there any additions, deletions, or motion to approve the consent agenda? Jamison moved. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Brown seconded. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Bennigan.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. The consent agenda has been approved. Is there any additions, deletions, or a motion to approve the regular agenda?
So moved, Brown.
Brown moves. Is there a second?
I second.
Knutson seconded. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of approving the regular agenda, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
All members present have voted. The regular agenda has been approved. This is a time that we set aside 5 minutes for anyone that wishes to address the council on any topic of interest to them. So would anyone like to address the council for a period of 5 minutes at this time? Come forward. Okay, come forward. Give your name and your address, please. Thank you.
My name is Mary Kramer, and I live at 1008 West 11th Street, which is right across the street from the Grange Plaza. And 12 years ago, the Grange Plaza was turnabout, and it's been a pawn shop, and right now it's a cash advance, and a restaurant, and a coffee shop. And the 12 years I've lived there, I've never had any problem living there until the last few months when the restaurant that I'm guessing was okayed by you to go in there 3 years ago, in the last 3 months has turned into a bar/dance club, and it keeps us like awake on weekends. And in this 11th Street cleanup that we're doing, I would just really think that even though that's zoned commercial and you have houses on Menlo and you have houses on 11th Street, that we should do something about an ordinance that everything in there should close between 10 and 11 o'clock at night like it always has, and you shouldn't allow businesses to stay open until 2 a.m. Question?
Yeah, Mary, we've heard about this before, what's going on there, and has there been any reduction in the noise and activity in the past several weeks, or is it just the same?
In honesty, it's blatantly obvious they hired security, because now you have a man that stands outside from 1:30 to 2 o'clock screaming, "You guys have to leave, you guys have to leave, you guys have to leave." And the last 2 weekends, that's probably woke me up more than the people hooping and hollering is the man that stands outside for a half hour and screams, you have to leave the parking lot. Okay, so in honesty, they don't hang around as long, but you have the same problem with noise because all the cars are going to start, the headlights shine on my house, the man screams, leave, well, then he's arguing with the customers that are all drunk out the parking lot who don't want to leave. The noise reduction in the stereo system, I think now that traffic is flowing again since they've opened the road, which was probably a big thing most of the summer because you have no traffic, so that noise just, okay. I think they've probably toned it down, but my windows are closed more because it's getting cold outside. But like I said, the last 2 weekends, Sunday nights are the worst. And I've been told by officers that they're riding at 2 a.m. because it's a restaurant. So they're staying open in case they serve food, which I really would doubt they have. I just look at the fact that there's school kids all along our street. There's school kids on Menlo. I get up at 5:30 in the morning on Mondays to go to work. Once you're woke up at 2 in the morning, you have a real hard time going back to sleep. And like I said, they opened as a restaurant. They advertise on their sign that they're open till 10. I just think there's some kind of loophole in there that they should not be able to stay open till 2, especially if you're cleaning up an 11th Street area. Okay?
Kevin?
You'll have to refresh my memory, but did this come before the council as a conditional use permit? It did? Would it be appropriate for us to ask the planning department to perhaps review that conditional use permit to see if they're still abiding by the stipulations, if any, that we placed on the operation?
We can do that. So we'll do that. Bob?
Pardon me, did I understand you to say that on Sunday
Sunday
night or like late Saturday night, Sunday morning, or is it Sunday morning into Monday?
Sunday night into Monday.
They're staying open until 2 in the morning?
And the officers have told me that it's a restaurant. Okay, so, because my first argument, the first 3 months ago, was how can they be open till 2 just because there's nowhere you can go till 2 a.m. And they're like, they're writing that they're a restaurant if they're serving food, which, like I said, I can't prove they're not serving food. You can see lights go off on the side. My husband went over there. They actually clear out the tables for the restaurant, and they have speakers stacked in the corner, 6 of them, that they create a dance floor. Well, I'm kind of thinking that you're losing your restaurant aspect of that if you're turning it into a dance floor. So I'm thinking somehow they've got around the fact, and they've argued with us in contacting them that they've been there 3 years. And I said, well, we never had a problem for 3 years. They just kind of took the clientele from the bounce club that closed and moved them over to where they're at. I mean, that's obvious. And I just, like I said, I'm just thinking if you're a restaurant and you told the city you were going to be a restaurant and the advertisement out front for 3 years has been restaurant 10 to 10, then you're kind of getting around that somewhere. And I don't know if you have to have a separate permit to bring a DJ in on weekends to open a dance club if you're a restaurant. My boss, I work at a restaurant, says if he wants to have a DJ come in the middle of the night and play music, that he wouldn't have to get a special permit from the city, but I would think somehow you'd have to. But like I said, 12 years of living there, every business in the Grange Plaza has been a laundromat, a beauty shop, things that close at 10 at night. And now you just, I would just think that if you eliminate, I wanted to come to the council and eliminate the liquor license aspect, but I really don't think that would, if they want to drink at noon, I don't care. I just want to sleep at night. Okay?
Lori, wouldn't they also have to have a security management plan for their beer license or wine license?
Yes, they would. Lori Bosman, City Finance Office. They do have a retail malt beverage license, which the hours for that particular license is 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. They also have a dance hall license at that location, and we should have a security management plan on file.
Okay, so you can check on that.
Yep, I can check on. There's Shauna's card.
Sorry. It's okay. Thank you.
Mary, thank you very much. Others wish to address the council for a period of 5 minutes. Any others?
My name is Gene Elrod, and I live at 1309 West 85th Street in Sioux Falls. And I'm trying to right a wrong, as you would say. And as the map that I passed out to you, if you look where High Cross Trail is, it comes out onto 85th Street. And I don't believe the Planning Commission and the developer were on the same page when they put in the South Pinewood Avenue. As you can see where the two X's are, it's about 125 feet between both what you'd call curb cuts or boulevard cuts or whatever that would go in there. And my analysis is, why don't they take High Cross Trail 125 feet to the east and come out where South Pinewood Avenue would be, where the new development is going to go back there with 30 to 40 new houses. And right now we have 40 to 50 families over here in Heather Ridge South that do not have access except a right turn when the 4-lane comes into play. And people that I've talked to all over there, they do not realize this. They don't realize when you come out on 85th Street, when the 4-lane boulevard goes in there, that they're only going to be able to turn right. And so my contention is, why don't the planners hook those two up as an intersection? And it's also would control, with a light there, would control the speed of the people, which they fly down there right now. And it also would be a safety factor, and also would be a right or left turn for everybody in the process, basically. And of course, we're talking about 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road. But if you don't fix it now, you're going to have problems, because right now on the north side of the road, there are not any houses in any of those squares for the 2 blocks there. In other words, the 2 lot sections, there's no houses right there now. They do have curb and gutter, but they don't have any houses. So if they would fix that now, that would alleviate the problem for the future. And that's my contention. If you look at 69th Street, within a 3-block area, they have 7 curb cuts and boulevard cuts. Well, they don't want to do that anymore. They only want to do it on a quarter-mile basis. Well, I can understand that. That's great. And on 57th Street, they made a lot of problems for people backing out. So they're trying to cure all those type of things. So why not cure this now before you get all these people moving in these areas? And basically they only have a right turn, where most of them want to turn right or left at an intersection. Any questions?
Gene, have you had a chance to talk with planning at all on this? Or
I've talked to a couple of individuals. I talked to John Osmond in engineering, and they all agree with me, which is the sad part of it. And they just say, well, I don't think we have any money for that, but that's what should be done. And I talked with Stockwell engineers that are out there. This Paul Sona, is I believe his name, and they all said that's what should be done too. So there isn't anybody that's saying no, this shouldn't be done. But I don't think we have the money to do it. Well, maybe in the 5 or 6 years when they're going to do it, well, maybe that's what they could do. But maybe they could move that over now and basically, make it so eventually it's an intersection there.
Gene, I think you should talk to Mike Cooper and just see if you can work with him on this, because he does that stuff pretty much. So, thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Others that wish to address the council for a period of 5 minutes at this time, come forward. If not, we'll move into the regular agendas, items 2 through 11.
All right, Lori Bossman, City Finance Office. I will go through items 2 through 11. Item 2 is a new retail malt beverage license for AmWest Entertainment for Riders Up OTB at 301 South Garfield Avenue, Suite 7. Item 3 is a new retail malt beverage license for Juan Herrera for Juanito's Taco Shop at 210 South Main Avenue. Item 4 is a new packaged malt beverage license for Laverne Supermarket, Inc. for Sunshine Gas Number 9 at 1231 East 57th Street. Item 5 is a transfer of a retail malt beverage license to D&J Management, LLC for Dino's Grill at 1914 South Sycamore. Item 6 is transfer of a packaged liquor license to Gijo, LLC for the BP Shop at 2800 East Marson Drive. Item 7 has been withdrawn by the applicant. No action needed on item 7. Item 8, special one-day liquor license request for the Washington Pavilion for various dates and various events. Item 9, special one-day liquor license request for SMG at the Sioux Falls Arena, again for various dates, which also cover home season games for the Stampede, for the Skyforce, and other additional items and requests. Item 10 is a special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine license for the Center for Active Generations for the Gourmet Guys fundraiser, which is April 15, 2007. They plan ahead well. And item 11 is a special one-day malt beverage license and special one-day wine license for the Ronald McDonald House to be held at Nelson Park. That would be on September 23rd for the Taste of South Dakota fundraiser. And I can answer questions on items 2 through 11.
Questions of Lori and Kevin?
Lori, on item 2, this will be an off-track betting establishment.
Yes.
Will they have video lotteries machines?
No, they have not requested video lottery. The applicants are here if you do have additional questions for them.
I'm just curious if they were to request, would they be in an area where they would qualify?
Highly unlikely.
Okay.
When you're in the center of Sioux Falls, it's hard to find a spot that
Thank
meets
you.
the 2,000-foot requirements.
Laura, I've asked this before and I just don't remember, but
Sure.
What are the limitations on a one-day liquor license and a one-day malt beverage license? I mean, it can only be, if it's for resale, it can only be on certain city ground?
That's right. For a special one-day liquor license, it needs to be on publicly owned property, such as the pavilion or the arena. And it can be requested by any organization, but it does have to be publicly owned property. And then for a special one-day malt beverage license, the location is not the issue, but rather it needs to be a nonprofit. They need to be civic, charitable, educational, or fraternal. And sometimes we have people that fall through the cracks and they don't fit either of those categories. That does happen.
Other questions?
Can we approve these as a group?
Sure, you can do
Move
so.
to approve item 1 through 11, except number 7.
Okay, motion to approve the alcohol beverage memo 2 to 11 is made by Jameson. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments? See no further comments. All in favor of approving items 2 through 11 will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Councilmembers Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. Items 2 through 11 have been approved. Item 12.
Item 12 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by increasing permitted front foot street assessments.
Good evening, Kevin Smith with the Office of Public Works. In 2004, our office presented a plan to the City Council to raise the front foot assessment 10 cents per year for 5 years. This current request represents the third year of that plan. Essentially, it would raise the front foot assessment from 70 cents to 80 cents per front foot, or on average about $8.78 per property for the entire year. We have taken a look at what our anticipated costs are for next year for asphalt overlays, and we're looking at what could be a 70% increase in material costs, going from $29 per ton up to as much as $50 per ton is what we're planning for. So just to let you know, we do understand that we have upcoming costs that we have to cover as well.
Questions of Kevin? Kermit?
Yes, Kevin, you said this would be on average an $8.70 increase.
Per year, per property, yes.
Yes, right. And so people are already paying 70 cents per foot, so this is going to raise it to a total what?
For an
On
average property, about 80, almost 90 feet of frontage, they're currently paying $61.46, and this would go to about $70.24. So
$70.24.
Yes.
And also, if I could just ask, the second penny, of course, was initially designated to be for streets. How much money are we using from the second penny right now?
Well, and I'll separate engineering, reconstruction projects, but just within the asphalt overlay program of the street department, the city council approved a CIP that over the next 5 years it'll be $21.2 million. So that annually, that dollar amount is going up as well.
Okay, so once again, that was how many years?
21.2 over the next 5 years.
5 years. And then we generate more than $30 million a year in the second penny.
I'm sorry, I don't know how much the city generates in second penny.
Yeah.
Further questions, Bob?
Could you explain to us the difference between having some straight frontage as opposed to having a corner lot?
We only bill one side, and that's the address side.
Further questions on item number 12? Let's go to 13.
Item 13 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city, amending the standards of conditional use plans. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. This ordinance amendment is being initiated by city staff. We put together a committee of Planning Commission representatives and private developers to review the process that we've been using on conditional use permit requests. There's an application form that's required, and there's also a plan that shows a drawing of the proposed development. And the purpose of this amendment is to help clarify what's required to be submitted on a plan, and we're actually simplifying the basic requirements of what needs to be submitted with an initial plan. Along with that, we're adding a new section that provides for the City Council or the Planning Commission to add supplemental information to that plan. What we found is that typically if there's a neighborhood meeting and there's a specific issue that the neighborhood wants addressed with screening or lighting that needs to be incorporated into that plan, then we can make that a recommendation of approval. And then the third provision is we don't really have a process defined in the ordinance on amendments to that plan. And so we've come up with what we call minor and major amendments. Minor amendments can be done administratively, and major amendments would have to go back through the public hearing process. So again, this is being done to help clarify, simplify the process of submitting a plan with a conditional use permit application.
Question?
Yeah, you mentioned that a minor amendment can be done administratively, and then a major amendment has to be done by the Planning Commission and or City Council?
Right, that has to go back through the same review process as the initial.
What is the definition of a minor and major amendment?
It's in the ordinance.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at this and trying to figure it out.
If just to give you an example, if there's a building layout and they want to move the building wall by a couple 3 feet, to me that's a minor amendment. But if they're showing an addition to that building, then that would be a major amendment that would have to come back through for further consideration.
Okay. So it's like you mentioned that you considered moving the wall 2 to 3 feet a minor one. So is it up to the planning director to make
and we
the distinction between major and minor?
Yes, and we've had this process in place for probably 20 years with the plan development. When you submit a final development plan, there's a minor and a major amendment process that we've had in place for that, and we're kind of following that same process with this amendment. And it's worked pretty well over the years.
I was just one other question. I was wondering, did this go through a council committee, this amendment, or this proposed ordinance?
I don't think it did, no.
And I'm just wondering why it didn't, maybe.
No particular reason.
Yeah, because it seems like sometimes we've been getting a lot of ordinances or information
Sure.
going to the fiscal committee and then also public works, but I don't recall, from planning any recent
With the land use
issues.
committee?
Yeah, going through.
Kevin?
Mike, did this go through a citizens board?
Yes, it was made up of planning commission and developer representatives.
Thank you.
And they actually helped write this and put it together with their input.
Other questions? Let's go to 14.
Item 14 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1219 East Rice Street and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls to allow commercial expansion, including a parking lot. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a rezoning of about 0.2 acres of land next to Buff's Bargains. They've acquired a residence, and they're proposing to expand their parking lot, and this rezoning will allow that to happen.
Questions on 14? Let's go to 15.
Item 15 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at the southeast corner of Highway 11 and East 26th Street and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls to allow single-family development. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a Van Buskirk development. The property was recently annexed. This zoning establishes primarily single-family residential as well as an area for future drainage and detention. And it's about 165 acres in size.
Questions at 15? Let's go to 16.
Item 16 is an ordinance, a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 57th Street and Old Yankton Road and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls to reflect current land uses. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a staff-initiated rezoning of a planned development district that has been substantially built out, and we're just rezoning it to the office zoning district, which reflects the uses that are there.
Questions? Let's go to 17.
Item 17 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at West 9th Street and Minnesota Avenue and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls to allow expansion downtown. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is the Kindler-Pontiac building site, which is proposed for redevelopment into a bank and other office uses, and this is changing it to the central business zoning designation.
Questions? Kevin?
Did I read something, Mike, about historical preservation and some issue whether or not this building was going to be raised or whether it's...
Right. The Board of Preservation did review this, and they've initiated a 90-day review period before the demolition permit can be authorized, and that's in the process. That review process is going on right now.
So the developer intends to raise the building?
Yes.
Who is the ultimate decision maker on that?
As far as the raising permit, the Board of Preservation has the authority to basically hold up the demolition for a 90-day comment period, but they don't have the authority to stop the demolition. So that's what's going on right now.
So who issues a permit to demolish a building?
Building Services.
Okay, let's go to...
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I guess I'm not sure. Okay, so you're saying basically, Mike, that the way this is stopped is if we approve a demolition of it. Is that right? The City Council has to do that?
No, the City Council is just changing the zoning district to a central business district zoning.
Mm-hmm.
The Board of Preservation has reviewed this proposed demolition, and they've requested a 90-day comment period, which they have the authority to do. But at the end of that 90 days, the developer can go ahead and get the permit to raise the building.
Okay, can you okay, then the way you stop that then is ultimately you don't give the permit to destroy it. Is that right?
Right, and there's really no authority that we would have to stop the demolition permit unless, that won't happen in this case.
Oh, so it's 99% sure it's going to happen.
Yes, they're proposing a 4-story new office building on this property, which it's also gone through the design review of the Downtown Design Committee, so there is support for this redevelopment project.
Okay. Steve?
Mike, is it possible in the future that the planning office, and particularly the historic preservation board members and staff, people that work in that area, that they could maybe do just even a little bit more as far as public education, as far as what some of the other developers have done in our city to incorporate the old and the new, or like the Standard Oil building, old example or whatever, because I realize that once these buildings are purchased that the owner gets to do what he wishes, and I understand that, but I had a call on this item also, like some of the other councilors, I'm sure, and I was just wondering if there was any more we could do just as far as public education, just in a positive way to encourage maybe even younger, newer developers who haven't even thought about doing this kind of thing, to just teach them a little bit more about historic preservation in our good city.
Right, and we just did a Inside Town Hall program on Channel 16 with 2 members of the Board of Preservation. We're going to be doing more public information on the future on different activities that the board gets involved in, and that would be one of them.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin?
Mike, I appreciate the work that this board does, and the fact that they have a 90-day comment period, but they have no authority to do anything. Who do they submit the comments to? Is the Board of Preservation comment during this 90-day period, or do they just invite comments from the public?
What they've done is they've initiated a 90-day delay in issuing a raising permit for public comment, and the real purpose of that was originally to allow other people to come forward with possible alternative ideas of how that building could be, or a building could be renovated or saved. That's the purpose of the 90-day comment period.
So it's kind of a public notice
Right.
procedure.
Yes.
Okay.
Questions? Let's go to 18.
Item 18 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at West 3rd Street and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls to allow development of twin homes. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a request of just under 2 acres of land that's currently zoned RS2 residential. And this is in an area that we recently had a discussion with some neighbors about twin homes versus fourplexes. The applicant originally came forward with a rezoning request and a conditional use permit for fourplexes. He has since withdrawn the request for fourplexes because of the neighborhood input that we've received recently. And so the developer intends to rezone this with the intent of putting in twin homes.
Questions? Let's go to 19.
Item 19 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at West 57th Street and Old Yankton Road to reflect current land uses and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is about a 23-acre existing office park, and again, staff is initiating the rezoning from the planned development to the office zoning district.
Questions? Let's go to 20.
Item 20 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at Old Yankton Road and Ralph Rogers Road and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls to reflect current land uses. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is another staff-initiated rezoning of a planned development district that was started a number of years ago. It's basically built out now in residential, and we're just changing it to reflect the current land uses.
Questions? 21.
Item 21 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 29th Street and Summit Avenue and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls to allow campus expansion. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is about a half acre of land area that is being requested by Augustana College as part of a future expansion of their campus. It does include existing parking and a residence, and the ultimate plan is to maintain this for additional parking to support the campus uses.
Questions? Let's go to 21. Where's the 22?
22. Item 22 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at South Grinnell Avenue at West 42nd Street and West 44th Street to allow single-family land uses and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a small parcel of about 4 acres that was recently annexed. Jim Daniels is the developer and is being requested to be rezoned for single-family residential development.
Questions? Let's go to 23.
Item 23 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a major amendment at West Benson Road and West Cayman Street, allowing changes in land use as reflected in the sub-area map amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is the Thielen Business Center Plan Development District, and recently we approved the shifting of Louise Avenue to the west. The request now is to amend one of the sub-area boundaries. This area was originally approved for multifamily, and it would now be amended to include office and commercial parking.
Questions? Okay, let's go to 24.
Item 24 is the first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a major amendment at 1508 South Sycamore Avenue, allowing changes in land use as reflected in the revised sub-area regulations and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls to allow a daycare center. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is about 7.75 acres. This was the former location of the dollar store. There's an Apple Tree Daycare immediately to the south, and this is being amended to allow for a daycare center to go in this existing building that was formerly the dollar store.
Questions? None. Is there a motion to set a hearing date for October 2nd for items 13 through 24?
I so move.
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. Knutson moved. Kavanaugh seconded. Set the hearing date. All in favor of the motion to set the hearing date for October 2nd will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present have voted. The hearing date for items 13 through 24 has been set for October 2nd. Item 25.
Item 25 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, providing that the 2002 revised joint zoning regulations for Minnehaha County and the City of Sioux Falls be amended by providing for conditions for buildings in the A1 Agricultural and the RC Recreation Conservation District.
This is an amendment to the joint zoning jurisdiction with Sioux Falls and Minnehaha County. It's being initiated by county staff. The issue that they've run into over the years is that in agricultural and recreation areas, that accessory storage buildings are constructed and they're used for commercial purposes, which is not the intent of the ordinance. The intent was to allow them for agricultural uses. And so this amendment would clarify that these storage buildings are restricted to agricultural uses only. And I was told today by Scott Anderson at the county planning office that we'll be requesting an amendment to both subsection 1A by striking number 3 and section 2A striking number 3, and we'll be presenting that at the second reading, that proposed amendment.
So, Mike, just to clarify that, they want to get rid of the requirement talking about 33.33% of the total family gross income. They're going to get rid of that.
That would be an enforcement challenge for us. So.
Yeah.
Further questions? If not, is there a motion to set the hearing date for item 25 for October 16th at 5 o'clock in the joint county-city meeting?
So moved.
Kavanaugh and Jameson seconded. Motion been made and seconded to set the hearing date for October 16th, 5 o'clock for item 25. Further comments? No further comments. All in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present have voted. The hearing date has been set for October 16th at 5 o'clock for the joint county-city meeting for item 25. Item 26.
Item 26 is a preliminary subdivision plan, Sioux Empire Estates addition to the City of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, South Dakota, West 6th Street and North Valley View Road. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a subdivision plan that shows about 17.5 acres of land that will be subdivided into approximately 77 single-family lots. And this is a development that's being done by the Sioux Empire Housing Partnership. It does meet all the city requirements, and we're recommending approval of this plan.
Questions? Yes, Bob.
I think I should excuse myself.
It'll be noted that Councilmember Litz has been excused from item 26. Others wish to address council item 26?
A question. Mike, is that a street on the south side of that? Is that a dedicated street?
Yes.
The only reason I bring that up is they have lots backed up against that street. Have we got it clarified so that doesn't happen like happened out at Kiwanis Avenue and Bitterroot?
I'm sorry, I misspoke that.
Is
Can
it
we-
stop before it gets to this?
Yes. If you look at this exhibit, there's two exhibits in your packet, and if you look at the one that's up on the screen, it does not include any double frontage lots.
Say that again?
This proposed plan does not include any double frontage lots. Was that your question?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Further questions? Kevin?
Mike, will these be new homes, or will they be moving in existing
There'll
buildings?
be new construction, is my understanding.
Further questions? Others wish to address council item 25, not council discussion or action on item 26.
Move for approval, James.
Jamison moved. Is there a second?
Second, Brown.
Brown second. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve item 26, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 26 has been approved. Item 27.
Item 27 is a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 57th and Southeastern Avenue.
We have a number of petitions tonight for annexation. All of these that you'll be hearing tonight are by request of the property owners. This one is along Southeastern Avenue, south of 57th Street. It's approximately 32 acres in size, and it is an area that we can provide future services to, and staff is recommending approval of this annexation.
Questions of Mike? Others wish to address council item 27. Council discussion or action?
Move to approve, Brown.
Brown moves. Is there a second?
Second, Jameson.
Jamison seconded. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 27 has been approved. 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 28.
Item 28 is a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 82nd Street and Beale Avenue.
This property is just under 2 acres in size. It includes 2 H lots, which are actually current street right-of-way, as well as property that's adjacent to the Harrisburg Explorer Elementary School. And this is just an annexation petition to get all this property into the city limit boundaries.
Questions?
Yeah, since the city's the owner of this property, what is that property used for?
It's a part of the Harrisburg school site, school park site.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Why wasn't it annexed earlier? Any certain reason, or?
I'm not sure. I knew you were going to ask me that tonight, and I don't have a good answer why this didn't get caught sooner, but
Well, I'll vote for it, don't worry.
yes. Good intentions.
Further questions? Others wish to address council item 28.
Better late than never.
Yes.
Council discussion or action on item 28.
I move for approval, Knutson.
Knutson, is there a second?
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. Further comments? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of approving item 28 will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 28 has been approved. Item 29.
Item 29 is a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, South Dakota Department of Transportation, 60th Street North and Marion Road.
This is a small corner that at one time was a bait shop, I believe, a bait and tackle shop, and it was acquired by the DOT at the time that they were developing their new maintenance facility. We're now annexing this into the city limits, and part of this property will be used for the future right-of-way of Marion Road in conjunction with the I-90 interchange project.
Questions on 29? Others wish to address council item 29. Council discussion or action?
I move for approval, Knutson.
Knutson, is there a second?
Second, Jameson.
Jamison seconded. Further comments? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of approving item 29, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 29 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 30.
Item 30 is a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 1/4 mile west of 85th Street and Western Avenue.
This property is about 7 acres in size. It includes some rural residential housing units. The landowners are petitioning this to be annexed for future redevelopment. The exhibit that you're looking at doesn't reflect that the City Council recently annexed property directly to the east of this. That 20-day effective period isn't up yet, so we didn't show this on our exhibit maps. But again, this is an area that's identified in our 2015 plan that we can provide future utilities and other services to, recommending approval.
Questions?
You mentioned the 20 days. I guess I'm wondering, why don't we just have it effective when the City Council approves it?
Well, there's always that 20-day period after publication for any resolution to be effective.
Oh, it's in the charter?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Others wish to address council item number 30. Not council discussion or action. Item number 30.
Move to approve. Brown.
Brown moves. Is there a second?
Second, Jamison.
Jamison seconded. Further comments? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of approving item number 30, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Costello? Yes. Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 30 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 31.
Item 31 is a resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rescinding Resolution Number 10606 and including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Correction, Fulcrum East.
I need to just explain these last 3 items are annexations that have been previously approved by the City Council. Again, we go through a pretty intensive staff review of these legal descriptions, but unfortunately, after these were approved, we discovered that we did not include adjacent right-of-way to the legal description, and that was, the landowner obviously didn't include that in their petition, so it's just an oversight on our part that we're now coming back for correction. Item 31 is correcting the legal description to include a portion of adjacent right-of-way on East 10th Street, which is on the north side of this annexation area.
Questions of Mike on 31. Others wish to address council item number 31, council discussion or action.
I move for approval. Knutson.
Knutson, is there a second?
Second. Brown.
Brown seconded. Further comments? No further comments. All in favor of approving item 31, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Item 31 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 32.
Item 32 is a resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rescinding Resolution Number 10706 and including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Correction, Fulcrum West.
This correction will include right-of-way on East Highway 42, East 10th Street right-of-way, and 6 Mile Road right-of-way into the annexation area.
Questions of Mike? Others wish to address council item 32. Council discussion or action.
Move for approval.
Who moved it?
Jamison.
Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh moved it, and Jameson seconded. Motion to approve has been made and seconded. All in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 32 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 33.
Item 33 is a resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rescinding Resolution Number 10806 and including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Correction, Hine.
This correction will add a portion of Powder House Road right-of-way to the adjacent land that was previously annexed.
Questions of Mike on item number 33. Others wish to address council item number 33. Council discussion or action.
Move for approval, Jamison.
Jameson, is there a second?
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. Further discussion. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 33 has been approved, 7 yes, 1 excused. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move. Knutson.
Knutson, is there a second?
Second, Kavanaugh.
Second, Kavanaugh. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Brown,
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Knutson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
All members present voted. We stand adjourned, 7 yes, 1 excused.